There's a reason why Isekai resonates with so many people. It offers something that most of us secretly want, a chance to start over. It lets us feel powerful, in control, admired, without actually changing anything in our lives. The problem isn't escapism. The problem is when fantasy replaces action.
勇気を出せ、頑張れ。
怖くて一歩も踏み出せない。心の中で本気になると誓っても、体は決してついてこない。泣きそうだ。
For me, this didn't lead anywhere meaningful. I felt stuck, like my life wasn't moving, even though time was. While other people seemed to be forming relationships and building momentum, I slowly erased myself into fiction. Isekai became a form of escapism. It felt like rehearsing for a life that I never stepped into. Some Isekai fully lean into this fantasy. A high schooler who suddenly becomes the strongest in the room, surrounded by people who rely on him and his competence is never questioned. There is no real struggle. It's all artificial. Success is guaranteed. That's not to say every overpowered character lacks growth. Often, the struggle was never about physical strength to begin with. What immediately comes to my mind is Subaru from ReZero. When I first watched this anime, I couldn't stand it. Subaru was emotionally immature, insecure, and desperate for acknowledgement. But over time, I realized that was the point. I related to the fact that no matter how many times he started over, it didn't absolve him of the amount of pain and suffering he endured. He was humiliated, and he carried the burden of never being able to share his secret with others. The problems he faced weren't overcome by him becoming physically stronger. Rather, it was through facing his self-doubt, fear, self-loathing, and being able to understand and empathize with the people around him. Trust and respect from others were never given. It was painstakingly earned, and by earning and sharing mutual trust with others, allowed him to become a better version of himself. Subaru is what happens when starting over doesn't fix you. The biggest villain in Subaru's life was himself, and as soon as he was brought into a new world, he also brought that along with him. The only way he was able to truly progress wasn't through restarting, but through self-confrontation. It was only when he faced himself did it allow him to no longer be a slave to his own psychology. Subaru's story echoes self-determination theory. His healing began when he built real agency, real competence, and real connection. He was no longer ruled by the attachment of an identity of having to perform. One of the strongest takeaways is that embodying the fantasy of transformation isn't true transformation. Becoming physically stronger or attracting women was never really the problem that the characters faced. But often it's coming to terms with themselves which leads to self-actualization. For some characters, it's toppling a corrupt government and building a kingdom that puts their people first. And for others, it's about facing the need for external validation and realizing that they were already enough to begin with. Their sense of value, meaning, and purpose didn't stem from wanting or desiring something outside of them. To actively seek fulfillment through external means creates an identity shaped by attachment, an identity of suffering. But my topic today isn't about dissecting specific isekai, but the way in which we engage with it. Isekai becomes a problem if it supplements your life rather than adding value to it. Sometimes we use it to avoid our emotions or the pain of not achieving long-term goals. Fantasizing might then lead to daydreaming. Daydreaming is doing the emotional work for you so you don't have to. And it's not like daydreaming is a real issue. The issue is replacing action with fantasy. Sometimes we do the same thing in real life. When progress feels slow or painful, we feel bad about it. So we imagine ourselves already having accomplished our goals. And this feels good, right? Except nothing has actually changed except the time that we lost and the momentum that we could have built. The real loss is the unbearable feeling when you make real effort, because fantasy already offered you the reward. The question isn't whether the fantasy feels good, it's what happens when we use it to avoid discomfort, which real growth requires. Now what I want you to do is think about how you felt when you watched Isekai, and how you felt when you stopped watching it. Was there a struggle that the MC felt that you related to? Or did you distance yourself from your own emotions and distract yourself with something else? Asking these questions isn't about judging yourself, it's about compassionate inquiry. The thing about Isekai is that it sometimes implies instant transformation, but real transformation is built up over time through consistency. Imagine if you could change your life and be anything you want. If you could create a perfect world and live in it, what would it look like? How much of that world will look similar to the one you live in? What is it that you are missing in your own life that another world could offer? If you want to be reincarnated, is it because you are moving towards something you value, or are you running away from something that causes pain? If your first response to open inquiry is distraction, then that might be avoidance. That's not lazy or broken, that's just your mind protecting you from discomfort. The true danger of attaching to a fantasy is silent suffering. Suffering that is invisible to you. When I reflect on what Isekai did for me, there was no positive change. I was stressed and I didn't enjoy life, so it gave me a peace of mind that was completely separate from the external world. The satisfaction from the MC showing off, being stronger than others, and being showered by praise and affection by women became my source of satisfaction. But when I stopped watching it, I had to go back to a reality that I didn't want to be a part of. I treated it as nothing but a mere form of escapism. Now that I've taken time to self-reflect and shift from avoidance to action, I realized that I only wanted to escape because I was hurting and I couldn't tolerate the pain of it. But acknowledging that felt validating and freeing. Now I use anime as a source of inspiration and introspection. I am thankful that characters like Subaru exist because it allows me to explore some of the darkest parts of myself. So I encourage you to make that conscious choice, not just in how you watch Isekai, but how you metabolize it. Watching with intention can give us insight into self-acceptance and growth. So let it be a safe space for personal transformation and bring that energy back into the real world. What makes a great Isekai, in my opinion, isn't a character who isn't just reincarnated once into a new world. It's a character who is transformed when they confront who they are. Beneath the world building, pay attention to the underlying story and how you personally connect with it. You are the architect of your inner world. So reconnecting at the level of body and mind facilitates self-efficacy and autonomy. This is the process of real transformation, and I fully believe you have the capacity to discover and change than you might think. You are the expert of your life because you are the consciousness that experiences it. If Isekai is the mirror, then ask yourself, what is it reflecting back at you?